That counts, right?
It always counts.
I think that's a real thing.
Yeah, you don't say 2 or 1. You just nod along. Oh, microphone been hit. That means we're on. So welcome to the Open Color Podcast. I am Corey. He is Vishal. This is the show. Quick shout out to everyone who is watching on our YouTube live stream. That is youtube.com/govnc. Thanks for watching. Everyone who downloaded on the podcast platforms, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining. So, I've been sick.
Because of this lousy Smarch weather.
But we're not. No, oh, yes, we're in Smarch now. But I was sick during the final push that was February. It sucks.
Yeah, sick. That's not a good time.
Makes you question your health choices in life. Well, not really.
Oh, no, just jacket choices.
Yes. I will say when it's like ever so slightly non-freezing cold.
Yeah.
Like you're like hell's teat of frozenness. I would probably just go in a blazer.
Exactly. It's not that cold. And then...
Oh, it's only -15 versus the -48 that it was the day before. We're good. I got this.
And then all of a sudden you're in bed all day.
But I'm fairly certain what happened was I made it through all of that and then was out in the rain-wind combination that was last weekend.
Yep.
Walking from a parking lot to building, having to divert myself from the main entrance of my place of employ to another entrance. So, and that place is a wind tunnel as it is. So it just
absolutely
amplifies the already 80-kilometer winds that there were, or 50-kilometer winds. So 80 miles per hour for the American listener.
No, that's backwards.
Or metric. Right. 50 miles, 80 kilometers.
There you go.
So 50 miles. So what? 50 would be 30?
Ish.
30,
yeah.
30,
35. 30. 50 kilometers. Yeah, around 30.
So 30 mile per hour winds. Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, that's absolutely not fun.
So I am off death's door.
Yay!
Of the head cold that it was.
Did you leave a flaming bag of poop?
Yes.
Works
I did. And this is the I went medicationless.
Whoa.
I went the new Green Deal.
The new deal green.
Yes, the
Green New Deal.
Green New Deal. Neil Green Tyson.
Diamond.
We both pulled random Neils out.
That's right.
Neither was Patrick Harris or
Armstrong.
Young or Armstrong. Went other ways. Went the ways of folks that probably no one knows much about.
Yeah, that's fair.
What's up with you? Still vegetarianing it up?
Yeah, just doing that old thing. And the whole working and stuff. I'm planning on starting a new thing sometime this week, probably. We will discuss on the next podcast, depending on how well or not well it goes. But
like this podcast?
Yeah.
This podcast doesn't go well, we're not doing it anymore.
Next podcast, we will discuss if it went well or not, and I will, promote and all that kind of stuff then. But for now, it's...
Does it have anything to do with clicking pens?
Yes. Am I clicking?
Okay.
I'm just tapping. Is it clicking?
We're getting some reverb.
Like that?
That's right.
All right.
I should know I have a pen in my hand too, and I'm very tempted not to click it.
Pen is getting flipped. And
hey, it would have been better flip if we weren't on camera. We could have
yeah,
flipped gone. No, it just flipped up and landed right on the old lap.
But Yeah, other than that, not a lot new. Yeah, it's pretty much same old, same old. But it's a busy same old, same old. So there's that.
I
Something.
rewatched Ted. Yes, a combination of yesterday and today.
How was that?
It's still enjoyable, but when I was watching it, I was just thinking, like that it's one of those movies that has like a definite end to it. Like the story is told. Literally says, and they lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
And they do like a brief little montage of recapping where everybody's lives are and such. And then you go and it's like, oh, this is great, it's done. And then 3 years later, hey, here's the second one.
Hey, Ted 2.
And then they're like, okay, well, this actress can't do it anymore, so now we have to rewrite all this. And then it just kiboshes how that ending happened.
Yeah.
But I didn't I noticed it a bit, but I really noticed it now because there is that joke in the movie where like Ted's like, oh, I don't really sound that much like Peter Griffin. I didn't think of it at first, but watching it now, I guess, and just listening because I wasn't really watching; I was more so listening than the last 2 days. It is Peter Griffin's voice.
Oh yeah, they act like that accent and everything, like that Boston-y.
I guess before I just thought it was more like it was like a harsher voice, like a deeper. But I guess maybe just watching Family Guy more often now than I used to, I really picked it up. Like, oh no, it is definitely.
And just like hearing the same voice coming out of, when you're watching it and hearing it come out of a bear, your brain might tend to like think of it differently.
Yeah.
But if you're just listening to it, then yeah, you're like, yep, that sounds like Peter. Peter.
Oh, Peter.
Oh, Peter.
Do you think it's overrated, Ted?
I thought Ted 1 was hilarious. Like, I thought that...
If you rewatch it now, do you think...
Do I think it would still be funny? Probably not. You know what? As I think back now, I can barely remember any of the jokes except for the flashback where Mark Wahlberg goes, Chris Brown can do no wrong. I thought that was such a great joke. Yeah. And also when she calls his cell phone and it's the Imperial March.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, wait, is that my ringtone?
It sounds negative.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's from the Notebook.
No. It's from the Notebook. That's right.
Oh, okay.
But like those two things I remember. The rest of it, I don't really remember the movie so much, but I remember laughing a lot. Ted 2, I don't remember loving it.
The only the things I remember most about Ted 2, the first part is the randomness is when they come upon that huge field of weed. Yeah. And just for some reason, Ted just throws in the Jurassic Park line of they do walk in herds. Yeah. It's just like random, does not fit at all. Well, I thought that was hilarious. And then the fact that like that whole like testimony that Ted does in the court scene is like line for line what they did in an episode of Family Guy.
Yes, yeah, I don't even remember.
He sings some song, right. And it's like exactly what Brian did in an episode. I'm like, oh, that's just lazy writing.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I don't really. I might have to dabble.
It's too bad that they can't just stop at one movie, right? Like, just because a movie, like the first movie in, like Ted or anything else, did well does not mean that you have to make a second one.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Like, we would have been better off if it bombed and became a cult classic than a box office success.
Yeah, and it sucks because, I mean, that's how the world works. If something is a relative success, they're going to follow it up with a second one, and if that's a success, they'll go on with the third, or if not, they might stop. But if the second Ted was, as well received, or maybe even like 80% well received, I'm sure that a third one would have been like right behind it.
Yeah, well, that's like think Zoolander. Zoolander got delayed after the 9/11 attacks, right?
Yeah.
And so then it kind of got skirted and barely made an impression in the box office, and then found the following. Austin Powers was like that too. It made nothing the first movie when it came out in '97, I think it was. But then people found it in a home video, and then boom, we got two more movies.
Yeah.
That are effectively the same movie.
It's the exact same movie for sure. But like, I don't know. I was more okay with it with Austin Powers. Ted, just so many other movies, and like that's the thing with Austin Powers, whether they got made or not, I don't think it would have changed anything. Like
I think for those ones, it paid because it paid homage and spoofed to like all the Bonds and those type of movies that you can lend yourself to do sequels to it versus
well,
like
and
Ted,
they have
so original story, it's like a hard R. Then you just basically it's all built around jokes rather than an actual storyline.
Yeah, and you can't just make a movie of one-liners, or you can try, but
well, they did it. Iron Man.
Yeah,
all ad-libbed, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't. That wasn't the whole.
It wasn't the point.
It wasn't the whole thing, right? Yeah, like Ted's story or Ted 2's story was not a very good one.
No, was it? They wanted to have a kid.
Yeah, and Ted had to figure out how to be without them. I forget their names. Marky Mark.
Right.
And his Funky Bunch.
Does it bother you at all that he like pretends that didn't happen? Like doesn't really like and like brushes it off. Like rather than like embrace it. Like he's at the point now in his career where like the movie roles are gonna die off and like just like have fun with like I did it. But no,
I don't know. I think I'm okay with him not doing it because
nothing has to do it, but just like don't be a dick about it and act like it never happened ever.
Yeah, like if people bring it up, I guess. But so I watched one episode of Celebrity Big Brother this year, and one of
on purpose.
Yeah, one of the people on it is Joey Lawrence,
right?
And he's a different guy now. He's done stuff probably. I don't know. I don't remember seeing him in anything. But of course, everyone is asking him to say, "Whoa."
Right.
And he's like, "Yeah, I don't do that anymore."
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't pretend like that it never happened. He's like, "Yes,
he's over it."
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, people ask me all the time." And he's like, "I don't do it anymore." He's like, I think he said something to the effect of like, if I win, if I win the whole thing, I'll say it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to be the thing he's ultimately remembered for. Unfortunately, it is,
right.
But I think Mark Wahlberg has a lot of other stuff to kind of not fall back on, but to be remembered for, or at least he's like, oh, I was in this, I was in that. The Brady or not the Brady Bunch, the Funky Bunch was his like stepping stone, like his first taste of stardom, right? And then he's done other stuff since then, and so I think he can.
Yeah, it was that and the combination when he was like the underwear model for Calvin Klein, which were around the same time.
And then after that, he has done a bunch of movies and stuff, so he can kind of say, well, instead of focusing on what happened 30 years ago, in the last 10 years, I've done this, and this. So, and on top of that, I made a bunch of terrible Transformers movies. Oh, wait, sorry. I made a bunch of Transformers movies terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were both bad. Everything was bad about all of them.
All of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Exactly.
I think I read somewhere too, and I don't know if it ended up being like, I don't know, confirmed or switched around. But I think denied. That he even has been going around like trying to distance himself from being like from Boogie Nights.
Really? Why?
Yeah. I don't
Like
know.
because it was around the same time?
No, I just think maybe if I remember correctly, I think people were trying to tie it into like, you know, he's got a family now and, you know, he's got daughters that are growing up and just doesn't want them to like see that or something like that. Or again, or it was all BS, but it was I think it was around the time that like Paul Thomas Anderson had another movie coming out. So they were like, oh, you can check it out. And then they brought that up. Oh no, it was after Burt Reynolds died, I think. That people were talking about it again, and he kind of just tried to brush it off. Like he's embarrassed of the movie they did. Or maybe it's like he's just talking about how he was as an actor then versus now. Don't know, because again, Transformers.
Yeah.
Did you hear that because of Bumblebee being a modest success, even though it's made the least amount of money of all of them, they're now going to reboot we're going to reboot Transformers, the series, based on what they did in that movie. But that movie is supposed to be a prequel to the other movies. I've gone cross-eyed.
Yeah, I heard that they were thinking of doing more Transformers movies because of Bumblebee's success. Like,
I feel dirty saying.
Like, just sounds bad.
Like, how can you reboot something
that
follows the timeline of a movie that's supposed to be set before the original movies?
Exactly.
Are you trying to do like a First Class type thing?
Maybe people will go back in time.
And the part that bothers me about the Bumblebee, still haven't seen it, but the trailers was when they show like Optimus on Cybertron looking like the 80s version in the cartoon, which is great. However, it was established in the first Shia movie that they all had like an exoskeleton when they're on Cybertron, and their car-looking forms they took when they got to Earth. So why would they look like that on their planet?
Yeah.
Right?
Come on, movie. God. Why you gotta ruin everything that's awesome when we were children?
I still remember having to see that movie twice in theaters and did not. It wasn't until the third time I saw it at home that I got to hear him say his name. My name is Optimus Prime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. He said it.
I saw it in the theater, and each time, are you Samuel J. Witwicky? Yeah.
Will Kiki.
My name is. Is your name Will Stoffa? Where's Will Simba? It's a Fresh Prince quote for those that are aware.
Again, that's another one of those movies that, it kind of did well, so let's make 8 of them.
Which one?
Transformers.
Oh, yeah.
The first one was like fun and stupid and whatever.
Yes. And then the first half of the second one was more stupid, but kind of fun.
Yeah, and then it just
the wheels fell off.
dropped. There was like a huge cliff that it jumped off of. And then
climbed back up, and then jumped off the cliff
jumped off again.
Just went for a higher cliff and then jumped off. And what I find funny, if you look at the credits for those movies, is each one they did had more and more writers.
Yeah, it's like too many cooks, maybe.
Just no cooks. Everyone just put Hungry Man's in a microwave and pressed start.
Yeah. And then what came out, what they finally ended up using was the final result when there's like food splatter everywhere. Yeah. They're like, yep, this is what we're going with.
Does this look edible to anybody? I might eat it. Go, release it.
Take a picture of this microwave, turn it into a movie.
Just give it to Mike. He'll eat it. He'll eat anything.
He'll eat anything.
That's basically how they think of like 12-year-olds. Just put it up there. A 12-year-old will watch anything.
It's like not true. But I mean, you can only fool them so many times, right?
Yeah. And I think was it Transformers. Was it last night? The Dark Knight. The Last Knight Returns.
Night of the Moon.
I think it was Revenge of the Moon Knight Fallen. Dark
Formers.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, the last one. I think it was called The Last Night.
Yeah, that one. It was the one where they have
Egypt?
to stop.
No,
Megatron
that was Revenge of the Fallen
with the Optimus Prime fighting robots.
Right. No, there was the Age of Extinction. Was that before?
Right, that was the first Mark Wahlberg one. That's number 4.
Okay. I don't know if I saw the other one.
That's the one with. I think that's the only one without Megatron. They turn him into Galvatron.
Yeah, that's right.
And then he's Megatron in the 5th one, with no explanation how he's back to being his former self.
The explanation is it happened somehow.
Did you know the main girl in Transformers 5 is Star-Lord's mom in Guardians 1 and 2? Yeah.
Did not know that.
Either did I. And she's British. And she had hair.
What? No, I don't believe you. Now I have to rewatch the movie.
Which one?
I don't even know if I saw the last one, Transformers.
I don't remember it. I remember it being very. The only thing I remember from it is being very long, incoherent and long.
Yeah, like it may have just kind of been on, but yeah, maybe I'll
a road you'll travel.
Sometime, but
I watched Infinity War again, gearing up for Captain Marvel.
Yes, so good.
2.5 hours of never boring.
Right? Why can't they make more movies like that? Every movie that's over 2 hours now could easily be cut to like an hour and 45 minutes.
Well, what they did right is they have such a big cast that they kept them all apart. And you had chunks of this is going on here, this is going on here. So there's never really a time for you to, catch your breath. Or breath.
Why would you maybe get some mints in there?
I want to rewatch Fresh Prince again, but I just haven't found the time to sit down and do it.
It's not easy. Like I've watched a few episodes, and it's like
I don't know. Is it because like you have to get to season 4, like after it was kind of over, and then they kind of just like changed the whole dynamic of the show? It's more like self-aware and
yeah. I think so, because there's just a lot of cringiness, I find, that you're like, oh, you can't,
like the social stuff, or
like there's just certain things that they say it and you're like, oh, you can't say that anymore, which is fine. Like it's fine. We've talked a bunch of times about things being said in certain
Ted's like
times.
Exactly. It only came out in 2012.
Yeah, but
what happened in 7 years?
There's things that you not can and can't say, but like kind of, and it's like watching Saved by the Bell too. You watch it and you're like, like this is dumb, like so stupid, but still awesome. Fresh Prince, though, I think you have to wait until he kind of gets out of his like early Will, like
when he's less Fresh Prince, more Will Smith.
Exactly. Because the first little bit where it's like he's trying too hard not to be, I don't know. He's definitely trying too hard to be different.
Mm-hmm.
But when he fits in more with the Bel Air crowd, the show gets better. But that could just be everyone aging and, getting like meshing better together after a couple of years of recording.
Well, they also kind of shifted away from the parents and their stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Like Aunt Viv, less about her, teaching and
her dance lessons. Or not dance lessons. The one dance thing she did.
It was like the ballet or something like that.
Yeah.
And then Phil's mom and her nonsense.
there's a few just like really incredible shows, like episodes, sorry, in that entire run though. Like
The earthquake.
yeah, obviously. um the one with Will's dad is
Yes.
like a just that's I like that was like one of the turning points in Will's kind of character.
Yeah, that's like what probably like would probably go top 5.
Yeah, that
And
one.
probably like in terms of like one of the most memorable moments is that ending of that episode.
Yeah. Um, and like even just the last, yeah, like obviously the last episode where there he kind of just turns around and the living room's like empty. But it's all later episodes that are good, and it's because Will Smith is more Will Smith and less Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
And it definitely makes for a better show and better kind of jokes to go along with it.
Do you find it necessary, or does it rub you the wrong way if like a sitcom tries to go more dramatic? Like,
Like
does it like lessen the show? Like, well, when you do like a social relevant episode, like let's say Fresh Prince, like Carlton gets shot,
yeah,
and they go serious,
it takes you out of
or
the
do you
it
like,
doesn't
prefer
take you out of the
like
show.
like the Friends, where like for 10 seasons, like it's serious, it's just jokes, nonsensical all the way through for 10 years, nothing really. Like, you're not stopping because, oh, this person, like, oh, they're so and so got cancer, died from a long battle of dealing with that, and like it's like the whole episode just you're crying buckets. And the
Yeah,
next
it just like grinds everything to a halt.
Yeah, exactly.
But then expects you to almost forget about it because it's got to get back to the jokes.
Yeah,
like I'm
like
I'm
I think the extent with Friends was just maybe like birth episodes. Really,
yeah,
like that's
or
kind
just
of it.
there's just a lot of like with like I still think I still love Friends. It's still my favorite show. But there's just so many things that happen early on, especially, that I'm like, this, it doesn't make sense. And like when Rachel goes to Mindy's wedding at the end of season whatever it is, 2, um, and like Richard and Monica are there. Why would they be there? Like, Monica's not friends with Mindy.
Right.
She's friends with Rachel, but like Rachel doesn't get a +7.
Right.
And then also Ross is sitting at the head table. Like, what? No, that's not how.
Yeah, that's not how weddings work.
That's not how wedding dates work.
Right.
And then another wedding episode where Susan and Carol are getting married.
Yeah, I was just gonna say lesbian wedding.
Yeah, the lesbian wedding where Rachel's mom is there. Like, what? You can't just invite people because they're over for the weekend.
And also, I don't think Carol would have any of Ross's friends there.
Exactly, none of them. Like,
or family.
Ross, sure.
Yeah.
Like
even
Monica maybe, because however long they were together, there must have been some sort of relationship.
Yeah, I think the stretch would have probably been Chandler, because that was his friend in college that she would have also known.
Exactly. And then that's it. After that,
yeah,
no one else. And it's like, why are they the only guys there?
Yeah.
It's like where, I don't know, I forget who, Chandler's like, the world is my lesbian wedding. But it's like, no, like they must have male friends.
Yeah, or non-gay friends.
Or non-gay friends. Exactly.
No, lesbians travel in packs.
Just like weed.
Straight men need not apply. Yeah.
But yeah, there's stuff like those shows where it kind of takes you out, but sometimes even the heartwarming ones in Friends, like the ones that are meant to be pivotal moments, like Ross and Emily's wedding.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's supposed to be this kind of big thing. He says Rachel, and everyone's like, oh, whatever. Like, it's fine for it was good. It was a good season finale to be like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? But the next episode, it's like it starts that way, and then it's all jokes the rest of the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did you do this? Like, why did you need to make it so dramatic and then have us like just pretty much, or like want us to pretty much forget that it happened?
Yeah, especially because it's like, do you want to proceed? Oh, she can do it. She can do it. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. And then after that, it's all jokes about Ross not knowing how to wear pants and like people.
Well, there was something terribly wrong with those pants.
There was, I know. That's the truth.
I don't know if it's just like my logical thinking, but or because it's just like you want to point out just really weak writing, but it's like, a lot of these things could be resolved if somebody would have just said one thing.
Like, hey, like why?
No, like it popped in my head because I did not expect her to show up just before this happened. I'm so sorry. Like, this means nothing, but like none of that ever happens.
Yeah.
It just,
characters saying the one thing that would have stopped it instead of trying 14 times to make excuses about something.
Yeah.
And then getting cut off every time. Just be like, hey, listen, this is what happened.
Listen, you.
Yeah. Listen, Linda.
Damn it, he did it again. Emily.
God.
Let's make some money here. So, some partners that we have for the show here. Visit 80stees.com. Enter the promo code OpenCollar30 at checkout. Save yourself 30%. And also videoeta.com. Enter the promo code collar at checkout, and you can save anywhere between 5 to 25% off any movie sold on their site. And flipboard.com, or download the app on the App Store or Google Play. That's it.
Awesome. Now give us your money.
Yeah.
Companies. Come on.
We don't have money to spend or throw away on shoes,
hats,
and hats,
or PlayStation Vitas.
Yes, that was. I had that for our trending news coming up after our brief commercial break. But I wanted to mention here, since we're talking about hats. So I have a gift card for
lids.
Not lids per se, but another sporting goods store. And there are some hats there. But I also have folks that can provide me with hats for free.
Interesting.
Because I've asked them for. And I was told you'd get one. And that was like a month ago. And said hat is in the store, which I can still get for free. But if I get it from this person, then I can get another one with my gift card. And then I'm up to 3 hats.
3 hats. That's a lot more than one free one. That's for sure.
So I'm just like, do I pull the trigger or do I wait?
How long do you have to...
I have all the time in the world. I don't want to bug again.
Like, yeah, I just got to wait. Wait it out.
It was like a month ago, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm heading down there. I'll go grab one for you. I'm like, sweet.
Maybe just
I've seen you like 5 times since then.
Maybe a quick message, just to be like...
I did, and I got no reply.
Totally rhymed out.
I'm getting ghosted. I don't know what to do, man. I thought we had something special.
I say bug one more time, and then go for the free one.
Yeah. And then do I wait till like end of season clearance type deal too? That's always the best. Should probably take our commercial break now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Some news. All right, take a break. Come back with some news. All right, we're back with some news. So like you just said just moments ago, Sony officially has ceased production on the PlayStation or PS Vita. You hardly knew ye.
Well, yeah, I guess. We hardly heard of ye for the last...
So, yeah, launched in 2011, and to date sold only 16.1 million units.
Only.
Well, if you think about it, what did the Switch do in its first year? Like 11?
30?
11
in the
30 first minute?
Yeah. Yeah. It had a pretty good day.
What did it finish again? Dead last? Yeah, it had a good run though.
It was
yeah. On paper,
it was
like
one of your favorites for
I remember like that commercial
The
sold
long
me
time.
instantly. Buddy's playing MLB Show on his PlayStation, and oh no, I gotta take a bus somewhere apparently. And he pauses it, grabs his Vita, sits on the bus, and he continues his game.
Yeah,
Mind
that's
blown.
huge.
Mind you, nowhere did it say that you either A, had to be on Wi-Fi all the time to do it, which you do,
Yeah.
Or have a version that the only thing sold in Japan in the States, which was the 3G version. Then you had to pay for the cellular plan to play your games on the go.
Right, because it wasn't really playing your game, right? It was streaming it from
Right. So yeah,
the
essentially
game that was already on.
when you had two ways of playing. You had you could set your PlayStation up as a essentially like a router. So in your home you can mirror to it similar to like VPNing into your desktop.
Okay.
Like remote to your desktop. So you can be on your iPad and like through Splashtop or whatever other apps you can access your desktop. This would be you through your connection, your PlayStation turns into like a router, say the connection, you connect to it, and then you can play in your house. Or if you're on the go, it then kind of like Plex, where it's like a central unit that sends a signal out. You can connect to remotely from. It's very complicated in and of itself. But if you know how to do all that or had 3G or always on the internet, you can then play your games. Versus what the Switch effectively took that and retooled it, perfected it, and now it's your handheld is your console, but also docks to be a bigger console.
Yeah, but even the idea or the promise of being able to play it anywhere in your home was I think a very good.
Yeah, and this was you're getting your PlayStation 4 graphics on a handheld.
Yeah.
Like when I eventually got because I had a Vita first, and then I got a PS4 later, to be able to have your console like in the basement and to just through like in the connection through Wi-Fi to play like your NHL or Batman or whatever 2 levels up on just like laying in bed was amazing.
And like not actually having to have a second version of the game, right? It's not like you had to have, right? Like that was another huge thing is it's not like you had to buy a PlayStation version of NHL and then also buy a Vita version of NHL. You could just get one and then you're good.
Exactly.
But it's out. There's no more there's no more being produced. So if you can get your hands on one and love playing PlayStation games on a handheld, like it was crippled by a lot of things too, you know, with like their proprietary gaming cards and stuff.
Yeah, the game cards you had to get specific memory cards.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did they have a different kind of memory card too, or was it just like
it wasn't just your standard micro SD.
It wasn't like you had to get a certain specific yeah. So like that's that's kind of like a dick move, but
that's just at the time.
Like, at the time, right? Exactly. Like doing that now would be super annoying.
Yes,
but like that definitely made it harder to expand your memory and all that kind of stuff because that Sony's pricing it at a premium because you can't just get a third-party version of it.
Right.
But I mean, the promise of what it could do and what it did do was pretty huge. And I mean, without it, who knows if we would have the Switch even, or like what, this version of the Switch would have been if we didn't have that beforehand.
And what also when that wasn't selling like Game Busters or anything, but then they came up with PlayStation TV, which was essentially the same thing without the screen. because you just hook it to your television and it acted like another point for you to connect to your PlayStation 4.
Right.
You just, rather than on the go, you're hammered with being in. But then that's like, to your point, then you don't need a second copy. You have almost like you have two PlayStations. You can have the PS TV on your main level, and you can have the bigger box console in the basement, and you can still do both rooms gaming.
Yeah.
But
that one didn't really take off.
No, that one
well,
even worse.
Yeah, but because at least with the Vita, if you wanted to have a game that was specifically for the Vita, you could just go out and buy it, and then you didn't need a Wi-Fi connection or the 3G version or anything like that. You could go and play it on the bus.
Yeah, just play your games
in a lengthy car ride or like whatever the case is. So like that's a pretty huge advantage, but it's done now. And do you think that just after seeing what a success the Switch has been, that Sony's going to have a successor to that, like a PlayStation Vita 2 or just a PlayStation Switch type thing, like maybe alongside the PlayStation 5 whenever they announce that?
I can see them dabbling.
Like, do you think that it's kind of one of those things where they can just like, seed the market to Nintendo, be like, okay, you guys have that. We are going to go all in on at-home console gaming with like, 4K, 8K, ultra high definition, HDR plus, like all of those acronyms. We're going to make the best graphics possible on a game or on a console. And yeah, if you want to take something to go, get a Switch. That's fine. Like, do you think that it's kind of worth?
Sony would do that, because I find if you think about, just think of Sony's thing on a whole. When the DS came out, they came out with their PSP, the first version.
Yeah.
Which sold all right, and then they went next gen, and then you had the 3DS, and they had the PSP, the PS Vita. They also tried doing the PlayStation Phone when mobile games were taking off.
Oh yeah, I remember that Xperia.
And then we started getting like Oculus and VR start popping up, and they released their thing, which I think is like the VR version of the Vita. You don't hear anything about it, really.
Yeah.
So I fully expect them to do some sort of hybrid.
And then do you think that means Xbox or Microsoft comes out with one too, or?
No, I think Microsoft's going the way what you said. They're just, yeah, you guys, you got it, you got us.
Yeah,
because we were talking about before, like the Game Pass that they're looking to do, working with Nintendo and getting some of their games on the Switch and doing their Game Pass service on the Switch, and then eventually on Sony's PlayStation. Like, I think they tried doing the all-in-one Xbox One console, and it didn't take off like they thought it was going to.
Yeah, like the gaming part was fine.
Yeah,
but the rest of the stuff that they were trying to do, like, I don't know anyone that has an Xbox One that uses.
Well, yeah, they wanted it to be the be-all, end-all entertainment device. Like, this is where you're going to watch TV. This is where you're going to watch your movies. This is where you're going to play your games. This is where you're going to surf the web or whatever.
Like, Bluetooth your keyboard in, and now it's your browser.
This is what you're going to use. This is your device. And like, this is a great gaming console.
Yep.
That's it.
Exactly. So yeah, like I think with the Xbox.
Oh, and motion controls. Sony did that. It was the second the Wii came out. Boom. PS.
Oh yeah, that's true. The PSVR. I don't know. So I just got Tetris Effect for PlayStation.
Yeah. Tell me about that. You had 20 minutes to play that one time, and then I didn't hear anything else about it.
Pretty much. That's about all I played.
In a nutshell, that's what happened.
But it's like on this case, it's like, great for PSVR, and just from playing those 20 minutes, I can totally see how it could be like an immersive Tetris experience. Like, stuff flying at you and the sounds and the lights and like all that stuff, like it would be pretty fun to play Tetris in VR with all this stuff happening around you. And then I think there's this rumor of um, whoever makes Beat Saber bringing it to PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
And like if that becomes a thing, who knows? Like that might be the thing that gets me to actually try PSVR. Probably not, but it might be. Um, but it's kind of again those like those VR systems that are hooked up to consoles are it's just like a stationary thing, right? It's I have to be in this one room
Mhm.
and in front of this one TV with this one console that like that's the only way for me to experience this. Whereas Microsoft's doing their thing with they have like an augmented reality head set thing, like
Okay.
yeah, like goggles that you can see through, so you still see like the world around you, but then it's augmented reality, so there's stuff around there, and they have a bunch of gaming stuff, and like that's the kind of thing that I mean, right now they just introduced, I think, their second generation version of that, which is still not something that you would wear outside. But if they can keep making that smaller and smaller and smaller, and then turn it into a pair of glasses or like a bigger, thicker pair of glasses or sunglasses, like that would be really cool. You just have like a heads up display while you're walking around,
Like Google
um,
Glass.
kind of, but less glass holy. Um,
Glass holy. Put that on there. You
to be
glass
fair,
hole.
to be fair, glass hole was a word that was being thrown around a lot when Google sent out the Google Glass to a bunch of reviewers and stuff. But
Well,
yeah, like
since Google Glass is gone, we will inherit Glass Holy.
glass holy. Um, but yeah, I think right now Microsoft's doing the best kind of augmented reality stuff, and then you have Oculus and HTC, um, and I guess PSVR doing more of the standing in front of a bunch of cameras that know where you are version of the gaming. And then who knows, maybe the Switch or maybe Nintendo will come out with something that's like the Switch and the 3DS all in one. So you can have your 3D stuff handheld and then you can dock it. And if you have a 3D capable TV,
Mhm.
then you get that too. But I hope they don't do that because I don't know. 3D TVs are not really anywhere
Yeah, that kind of died off quickly.
very quickly. It was
Flash in the
like
pan.
exactly, it was like a 2-year thing where every TV had 3D in it, and then it quickly went from that to 4K, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't really need 3D. We're gonna give
Well,
you
for the longest time, when
4
it came
Ks."
to my home theater doing, I was all about sound versus picture.
Yeah,
I thought like this, regardless of the quality of the image, you're more immersed by sound.
yeah.
So that's why
Especially
I was focused on.
if you're watching Infinity War and there's like crackly sound or it's like too quiet, then it takes you out of the movie.
Yeah, like I had to be like having the rear channels behind me and the subwoofer and everything set up like all four corners of the room with the center speaker, like just like totally immersed. But now picture, since I guess I don't really have the sound systems or the setup for that with the fam and all.
Yeah.
The pictures really were, so I'll get like the bigger, depending on the film, I'll get the bigger files.
Oh yeah,
So
for
it's
sure.
the clearer. But 4K is, I'm not there yet.
No, it's 1080's still pretty good.
All your broadcast shows that they're all still in 1080 until 4K becomes standard. I guess there's no sense to move on.
Exactly, because why would they? And I mean, unless I'm watching, like, sometimes you're streaming something and uh, I don't know, there's just too much stuff going on your internet, and then the quality goes down to like 480p, and you're just like, God, like, like, what am I doing to my eyes?
Start over.
Yeah, I'm like, I'd rather not watch. It's like I'd rather not have internet than have really slow internet.
This is true.
Like, I'd rather not watch this blurry, blobulous like thing than, like, I'd just rather not watch it. I'd rather look at a clear blank screen.
Speaking of slow internet and crappy quality
and blobuluses
and blobuluses, which I'm running down right now. It was 11 years ago yesterday. I don't know if you saw this making its rounds on the Twitterverse. 11 years ago yesterday that we bid farewell to Netscape Navigator.
Really? 11 years?
11 years ago on March the 1st.
I like don't miss that at all.
Was that your browser of choice back then, or? I was a Netscape Navigator user.
It was until
I was not a in the mail free AOL disk install type person.
I wasn't AOL. I was not Internet Explorer, but it was at around that point. It was Netscape, but then Firefox came out, and I was.
There was Adora too.
I never used that one either, or I may have
I used Opera for a while when it first launched.
Yeah, that was good too. But yeah, I used anything that wasn't Internet Explorer though, because anything was a step up. But yeah, I definitely remember Netscape, like the loading animation, the N with the world, or the globe, I guess.
It looks like the dark side of the moon. Just end with this black arc.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that's the end in Transformers.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, Internet Explorer back then was like going to a bathhouse. You don't know what your computer is going to walk out with when you're done browsing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just virus galore. Like, there was no amount of penicillin that would clean your computer.
I was looking at this article today, now that you say that happened 11 years ago, and it was something like 15 things that 15 things you couldn't do 15 years ago.
Oh, here we go.
And okay, so some of them are like hold the world in your hand, which is like just smartphones.
Oh, okay. So you can physically hold the world in your hand.
Your hands. Capture everything. So the best camera is the one you have with you. And now so many smartphones have just really incredible cameras.
These are very specific things, but with very vague, generic titles to it.
Yeah. Maps on your phone. See.
I went through my glove box and I didn't know I had 2 maps in there.
Folded
big ass
IRL
dated maps. I don't know. I'm sure they predate when I bought the car, but I just tossed those. Couldn't believe that they were there.
That's crazy. Okay, another thing, virtual reality. See, listen, and play everything in seconds. So like just streaming.
Oh, instant gratification. That's right.
Connect to everyone, social media. Create
Going back to the streaming, I had a conversation with a guy at work. He was asking me, where do you what sites do you get your music from? And I said, I don't. Like, I have Spotify, Google Music. And he goes, oh yeah, I go to torrents, and all they have is like the daily list of downloads. Like, there's no more like Morpheus or LimeWire where people can just get your single song that you want to download. You have to download albums if you want to get a song.
Yeah. Well, you can like pick and choose, right? If you
but that's it's a lot of work.
Extra work, yeah.
Just subscribe, man. That's Isn't that funny to think about it? How everyone went out of their way to avoid paying for music, and now people pay monthly.
Yeah, because it's easier.
Yeah, I'll pay the $9.
Yeah,
and they get every song that I want, mind you.
and every song I don't want.
Yeah,
but it's there.
I have found a lot of songs that I do want are not on Google Play Music, but I'm looking for very specific songs.
Yeah, but that's the best part about Google Play Music is you can get them and then upload them so you have them wherever you go.
Fair enough.
Back
to your list.
Back to my list. Another one was create anything as long as it was small in plastic, so like 3D printing.
Okay.
The next one is just tablets and being able to use them on the couches without having like a laptop.
Are tablets like effectively like a niche thing now?
I don't think so. I think they're
Because I was looking them up just because like the kids have really old iPads. And
yeah, it depends on which tablet you're talking about, I guess.
Basically when I did a quick search, it sounds like it's either you have an option of an iPad or a Samsung. It's not the big wide range of
and even
options
then
anymore.
Even then, it's like you when it comes to tablets, it's like there's iPads and there's everything else because Android tablets like haven't been they haven't ever been good.
Just the Samsung. That's the only one I've ever had luck with.
Even then, like Android tablet apps are not optimized for any tablet.
Right.
And so you're just getting bigger versions of the app.
Phone.
And it's not great. So when it comes to tablets, like I always recommend iPads just because they at least do stuff with their software that makes sense a little bit. Android apps on big screens don't really make sense unless they're media consumption, pretty much.
Right. Okay, back to list.
Take 1,000 books on a plane, so something like a e-reader. Voice assistants, like voice assistants and smart speakers, and
still waiting to call Google Jarvis. It's not haven't happened yet.
Oh no, they're never gonna do that. That's like waiting.
I thought they were. I read an article that was like last year. Say it was they found it like it was in the code that you can change the wake up.
They wouldn't do that because no one would say Google, right? They want people to say Google as much as possible.
Fair enough.
It's just the same way that you'd never be able to change Siri's name or Alexa's name or Cortana's name.
I wonder if you'll see that name like disappear from lexicon of kids get named Alexa because of that.
Oh yeah, there's one I remember. I don't know if we mentioned this or I just told someone else about it, but like Jimmy Fallon does a like hashtag challenge or whatever every week, and then reads out funny ones. And there was one that was like, if I could turn back time or something. Mm-hmm. And someone wrote in like hashtag, if I could turn back time, I would change my daughter's name from Alexa to literally anything else. And like, it's totally true. Like no one is going to call their kid Alexa anymore.
Right.
And I mean, no one really called anyone Siri or Cortana before, but maybe some hardcore like Halo parents went with Cortana, but not a lot. So what was the other one? Ask the world for your support. So stuff like Patreon and all that.
So don't mention like, that we have a supporter page.
Yeah, GoFundMe and all those kind of fundraising things. And then share without effort, which is, I thought, talking about social media again, but no, it's about ride sharing and like apartment sharing, like Airbnbs and Ubers and stuff like that. Travel with electricity, so electric cars, and then foldable technology. So the new foldable screens that are coming out for thousands and thousands of dollars. But there's a lot of stuff there. It's like, it's totally true that 10 or 15 years ago, you know, how different technology was and how different we used it.
Right.
And then who knows what's going to happen in another 15 years. It's not going to be as as dramatic as from now to 15 years ago, I'm sure. But
Well, I'm going to say this. When we do our next episode, well, just next episode, when we post an episode 15 years from now, because we'll obviously be doing it 15 years from now.
of course.
My next prediction is that your phone device that you have with you will not have a phone function on it.
No, I think that's...
It will have, like, you'll do video calling, but like the default won't be just voice. Like your default will be video or some function of that, because
hologram.
like I've heard like guys at work talking about their kids that are now getting to cell phones. They're turning like 11 and 12. And they've been playing with the iPhones, and they did not know that it had a function where you can just call on it.
Oh yeah,
they do everything with it.
But like that's also like when you're
if you don't know it's there, you're not going to need it.
Yeah, but like when you're 8, you're not.
You won't need to. Maybe I shouldn't say like maybe not a phone function, but like we've talked before, how we wish that your plan on your phone would be just data.
That'd be amazing.
So I think it'll be data and however you use it. So maybe the calling is all VoIP. It's not an actual
that's
cellular functionality of it. You don't need to have that antenna in it. It's just all going to be internet based everything.
Yeah.
So it's data. Phones are gone. It's all data.
That I can see happening for sure. And like it's part of the reason. So
isn't Apple integrating like all the other apps, like WhatsApp and everything, to function with like the phone portion? So you get a call on that, it pops up like a regular phone call.
Eventually, yeah. Like some
some apps are better.
Some apps are better at that than others, like the major ones. And then they're not letting every app do that, obviously, because it's Apple. But at the same time, like there's rumors that Apple is releasing a new iPod this year for the first time in, I think the last iPod was like 2014 or 15. Like, I don't know. But,
I'll get a stats guy on it.
There was a time when there was a new iPod every year, right? There's shuffles and nanos, iPod touches, and like blah, blah, blah. But they're probably going to release an iPod this year that will be Wi-Fi only, and then they'll probably have a more expensive Wi-Fi plus cellular iPod, which is, again, it's basically going to be something that you can tack on to your cell plan, like an Apple Watch that shares data, and it's going to be an iPhone without the phone portion of it. But like I see that being as long as it's, as long as the camera is good enough, like as good as the newer iPhones and stuff like that, like they could easily charge $500 or $600 for it. And, it would be the new kind of low end iPhone, right? It could be your starter iPhone for your teenager that, doesn't need to make a lot of phone calls, but wants data to be able to do stuff, right? But like I think that's a great idea for them to do, because like that's exactly what people want, and no one on the Android side even has a chance of competing with it. And then especially if they do that and they offer, like a 6-month trial to Apple Music or something, and they can fluff up their Apple Music numbers that way, and then they're golden.
So as of was it 27th of July of 2017, the only iPod that's in production,
the 6th gen,
is the 6th generation, which was released July 15, 2015. So they haven't made a new one since 2015, and they're still making that version.
Yeah.
On, I guess, a smaller scale now.
Exactly. But it's because it's like, right now, why would you get a Wi-Fi only iPod with a camera that's like meh to terrible? And
on a scale of meh to terrible.
Yeah, it's only okay. But if they can update everything into, basically make one of the newest iPhones thinner and not have a cellular like a phone plan to it, like I think they would have a pretty big hit on their hands because you could do like the Apple Watch is what you could add data to it for like $10 a month or something. You get like something you
Sure.
just share your data plan. I don't know, something like that. Um, with this, like if you could get the iPod and then say for 10 or $15 a month, share your data, then like that's easily it's $15 a month for your kid to have a 99% of a iPhone.
It's like it's like the iPad Mini, right? It's a big push to get that out because people wanted smaller size, and they released 4 versions and stopped doing it.
Yeah,
And now there's rumors of them bringing a new version of that now too, right?
exactly. New version of that one. They're gonna have a bunch of different sizes to for everyone to kind of have to deal with in the next couple of years between phones, uh, potentially the iPod and iPads, and their new MacBook screens. Like they're going to have a screen. There's one point, like 4 or 5 years ago, before Samsung kind of settled into their groove that they're in now, um, where Samsung had a phone or tablet at pretty much every screen size from 3.5 inches to like 11 or something or 10.1 or whatever. But
Yeah.
like you could literally get a phone that was 3.5 inches, 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, all the way up to something in the 10 range. Um,
Yeah, because they had like the entry level Galaxy Tab was 7. I
yeah.
had an 8. And I think when they
Their
had
main one was the like their
it's like a
iPad competitor
10.5
was
or 10.4
10.1
or
or
something.
10.5. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah.
But they also had
Tab S.
random like because right now they have like their flagship series, which is their like S line,
Yeah.
and then they have their kind of mid-range like A series of phones, and they have a lower end J series, and they're just coming out with a new M series now or in the next week or two. Um, but at one point they had so many different S phones
Hmm.
and then so many different names of phones. Like they had the Galaxy Mega, which was like a 6.4-inch device, which seems like not so huge now because their Galaxy S10 Plus that they just released is 6.4 inches and the iPhone 10s Max is 6.5. But because of the like thick bezels around everything, that Galaxy Mega, what like it wouldn't even fit in those jeans that people wore that had huge pockets. Name, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The I don't know. You know those jeans with the big pockets.
Was it crisscross war? And they're all backwards?
No, they were backwards. It's like letters. D DK something. I don't know. Donkey Kong.
DKNY. That always makes me think of Donkey Kong.
Yeah. Jeans with big pockets.
Jeans with big pockets. They're sure they're not like carpenter pants or painter pants or something.
Nah, it was.
Is there such thing as a carpenter pants? Oh, and there's a carpenter ant.
I'm sure there's some sort of.
There's a band, the Carpenters. Carpenter pants. Yes, there is.
I don't know. Anyway,
Carpenter
those
jeans.
those jeans, Carpenter's jeans. That's a real thing. What do they have? Oh, is that the one that has the little belt for the hammer to sit into?
Yeah, they're kind of like cargo pants, but they have various slots to put your pliers and
Other tools.
such other tools of the trade. Yeah, I'd admit to said this to you, but I figured it would have popped up since we share similar interests. But did you see the like 5-minute trailer that Topher Grace edited of all 10 Star Wars movies?
Yes, That was pretty sweet. When I saw that it was Topher Grace, I was like, "Is this the Topher Grace?"
Like, come on, Topher.
But
Stick to your lane.
I thought it was pretty neat. That was good, but it was a lot, and there's just no way to it. Like, you can't make a trailer for 10 movies because
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
yeah, but I don't think it's
there was
something
there was no real narrative I found.
it kind of just showed some of the best scenes from all the movies.
Yeah, and then
which is what trailers do. That's
sure, yes,
that's fine. But yeah,
and it
you're
wasn't
right.
it wasn't linear or anything like that.
It wasn't linear, and not that all trailers are linear, right?
No.
Like we see trailers that give away endings or at least imply endings.
Yeah, which I have one to talk about after this.
But Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, well, we'll finish this one first. We'll talk about something good before we talk about that one.
Yeah. But yeah, like I thought it was enjoyable. Like I thought the Star Wars thing was fun and enjoyable because, there's a bunch of the movies that I just hadn't seen in a really long time.
Yeah.
So it was nice because I was like, oh yeah, I remember that scene, and it definitely made me want to watch Star Wars again.
Mm-hmm.
Certain movies.
Did you hear that he edited a few years ago all 3 prequels into like an hour and a half movie? He did like a super cut. It was like 180 minutes, so just about 3 hours.
Yeah,
of all 3 movies,
and like took out all the crap, I guess.
Pod racing.
Yeah. Now that's pod racing. But yeah, like it did what a trailer is supposed to do, and it made me want to watch
Star Wars again.
Yeah, it made me want to watch the movie. I hope something like that doesn't become a thing. Like, I don't want to see a 5-minute trailer for
the MCU,
Fast and the Furious.
Just watch the trailer for any one of them, and you've seen all 8 movies.
Yeah. Just watch some racing. Because it just the Star Wars one was really, I thought it was fun. That was well made.
Yeah.
While it, didn't, it did what a trailer was supposed to do, and it wasn't really as good as any.
Yeah, I think if you didn't know anything about Star Wars and you watched that, you'd be like, "What? I don't."
Yeah, because it kind of goes all over the place. But it might still make you want to find out. It might make you want to find out why, things happen that way, and then you'd be like, "All right, I'm interested," which is the point of it.
Yeah, I want to take a deep dive and watch them in order, like
1 through.
No.
In the good order.
I would like to do, like someone said, like the order to do it. We've touched upon this before. Is Rogue One, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
So like you get the reveal of Vader, and then you go back, see Vader's story, and then finish it up.
No, you. So it's Rogue One.
Yeah. So 4, 5. So Rogue One, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3,
6. Yeah. 7, 8. Solo
9, and then
throw Solo in there.
I don't need to know why he's a scruffy nerf herder.
He's not though. It's.
So okay, here you go.
Okay, so one of the main things I didn't like about Solo,
aside from the movie,
aside from the whole reason this movie existed, is so like movies like that essentially exist to, it starts
piss you off.
Yeah, well, it starts off as him, maybe being kind of a dick, like a show off, cocky, everything. Which is exactly how he starts off being in the Star Wars franchise.
Correct.
But then the movie goes on, it essentially makes him kind of like grow and mature into not that way.
Correct.
But then Star Wars comes along and he's back to the original way. And then as those movies go on, he grows and matures into not being that way. So it's like, what did the movie do? So then something happened in between Solo and A New Hope that took that maturity stuff away and brought him back to being like a cocky dick. But
Right.
what happened? Like, it's just that's where the movie lost me, especially because, among many other things. But like, you can't have a person grow only to regress back to that person, you know, 20, 30 years down his like movie life.
Mm-hmm. And you also can't have him be stagnant throughout the whole thing. Otherwise, you don't have a story to tell.
Exactly. So it's like that's why that story did not need to be told.
Right. And also, it kind of, he started off like he had a purpose, like he had his girl, so he
Yeah.
kind of was like the hero type. And then he went back to, well, he changed to being the cocky SOB that we all know and love. And then, yeah, regressed and started to change into the hero that we know he becomes at the end of New Hope, which he's still kind of not.
Still kind of, yeah, like he doesn't really become.
Yeah, he shows up to save the day because he's such a cocky SOB.
Exactly. And then same with in Empire, he's pretty much like, all right, like I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And then is like, all right, my friend's out there, I'll go get him. And then I'm leaving. And that's like, oh shit, we're under attack. Like, let's go, we're leaving. But it's not really until in the episode 6 where he's now General Solo and he has like responsibility, and
I like how he gets promoted to general
without having
to
climb any other ranks.
and like
for what?
For like the 5 years like he's been in Carbonite, all it takes for him to get rescued for him to get promoted.
That's right. Hey man, he shot a tentacle while he was essentially blind. So if that doesn't make you general material.
Well, that being said, he did also accidentally like spear Boba Fett in his jetpack and took him out by accident.
That's true. He was the main the main cause of Boba Fett's untimely death.
Again, also by accident.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it's the main reason Solo didn't need to be made, is because his character arc doesn't line up with the rest of his movies.
And I think what made him like the most interesting character of the movies was probably less so his character, but more so the actor playing the character.
Yeah.
Because it's Harrison Ford and he's like a cool guy. He's Indiana Jones. And, he's a cool guy after that too. In like The Fugitive or Air Force One and shit like that.
Yeah.
But then, what made him cool? I think it's just the character. Han Solo was a cool character, so let's go tell his story. Because then, even in Force Awakens, he's back to being a kind of a dick.
Exactly, but that you can kind of explain away, like
he's old and
he's old and yeah, exactly. Like he's dealing with whatever divorce probably, and his son, like he has reasons to want to be alone, and like all that kind of stuff.
Got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, but it's just that movie. It's too bad.
Now, would you have the same reservations if they did Obi-Wan, which I think they might be doing a show of instead, like a limited series on their Disney Plus?
I'm not sure. I think.
I hope it's the whole time on Tatooine when he's watching.
It's just him. Yeah, he's
shows
just
him
there.
Like he's over in the mountains sipping soup,
watching a sandstorm blow over. He's like, "Oh man, this one's gonna be worse than yesterday's." It's like, oh no, my crops. No,
moisture farming.
I think.
How's that moisture coming in, guys?
I think Obi-Wan's story is something I would want to know more than Han Solo's, for sure. Han Solo's, like we talked about before, cool. I want to know how he got the Falcon. Turns out
we did know that though.
Turns out it was terrible. Well, we
got the Falcon because he lost him in a bet. It was a game of chance, but we didn't have to see the game, and it really was just cheating.
Yeah, exactly.
He was cheating, then you cheated better.
And I wanted to know, kind of like how him and Chewie got together, which was also like not a great reveal, like not a great
Yeah.
part of the movie. But yeah, other than that, like I
I
don't
also like
know
have
or
to
care.
find ways of like explaining why somebody calls somebody something like his name's Chewbacca. Why does he call him Chewie? I would just
Oh
assume because
yeah,
it's short.
it's shorter.
But he
Not
says
having to
like,
be
"Oh,
like,
what's your
oh,
name?"
I'm not gonna say that
Yeah,
about you.
that.
Yeah, like that's stupid. Obi-Wan's movie though, I think I could, or TV show or whatever,
Whatever it
like
is.
backstory. Depending on how they do it, I think I could get into it. Um, but who knows?
You know, we need a 3PO from in between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, where he didn't have any of that gold plated armor.
Who when he
Yeah, when he was just
got
all wires and shit, and just
yeah,
how he got that all on. Or even R2D2. R2D2 seems to have been like everywhere. He's seen some shit.
that's true. But like you can't really have a story like there's not a lot of people's stories that I really want to know, to
There's
be
none of
honest.
them.
I would like to know um maybe like the emperor's story, like how before episode 1
How
what
Darth Sidious came to be.
exactly what's that all about. I'd like to know more about Snoke, but he's dead.
He's in pieces.
He's in pieces. Rest in pieces. um but yeah, there's not. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the amount of backstory they gave to the people that I would want to know about. Like I again, like there's talks of like a Boba Fett thing that I'm like, just stop. Like no one. I really like Boba Fett, but I can totally understand the people being like, he was on screen for like 8 minutes.
That's right. That's why he's a cool character. He had
Exactly.
very few lines, and you know nothing of him.
Like
Leave it be.
that's why Harrison like that. That's why Han Solo was so cool too. Like you don't know his past; it can be anything. And now, because of Solo, it can't.
Well, it's like everyone said. Darth Vader was like the guy. Like he was the be all end all bad guy for
Ever.
cinemaphiles. Yeah, for forever. And then we gave him his backstory, and it diluted all of that
Yeah, like turns
badassery.
out he was just some like whiny little bitch.
Yeah, he was an emo little bitch who will forever be known for that horrible overreaction.
Yeah, and you can't take that back. Like it's
He kind of did get a reprieve at that like 30 seconds in Rogue One at the end. Like that was
yeah,
like his most badass
badassery.
badass motherfucker in like a long time.
Yeah,
And
and
again,
then
and if you think about it, he outside of the beginning of the first trilogy, for like the first two movies, he has not been that badass until that very moment.
yeah,
And what
that's
happened?
true.
He had very little screen time in that movie.
Yeah,
Less is more, unlike this podcast episode.
yeah. Let's finish it
Well,
off
I'll
here.
do a quick recap since the Oscars happened on
Oh
Sunday
yeah,
to
that's
what our
right.
picks were. You don't want to know how you did.
No, I know. I okay. Well, to be fair, I wanted Spider
All of
Verse to
those things
win.
win. No, I know, but it
So,
says all on how you thought
oh yeah,
old white men would vote.
yeah, that's true. No, I know that Stars Born
Win anything
didn't win.
except
Yeah,
for
win
song.
anything. Um, but yes, let's do this recap and then we'll
Okay, so
finish off.
of the 5 categories that we discussed, animated picture, you had The Incredibles 2, I had Spider Verse 1, Best Actor, you had Cooper, I had Rami Malek, Malek 1. Best Actress, we both were wrong. You had Gaga, had Glenn Close. I can't remember. Olivia Colman, I think, was the one that won. Best Director, we both, I had Alfonso Cuarón for Roma. That's who won. You had Spike Lee. And Best Picture, we were both wrong. I had Roma Yet Stars Born.
Oh, I
and
can't believe that
Green Book. So 0 for 5 for the Brown Man. Whites win. 3 for 5.
Oh, we're gonna have to cut that out.
No, I'll leave it there. So I won between the two of us, but at the end of the day,
We're all losers.
We're all losers because nobody thought that Green Book should have won, could have won, but it did win. So good times.
Good times had by all.
You watch any of it? I don't think you did.
No, not even.
No.
I knew Spider-Verse had won because
Twitter lit up like a mother.
Yeah,
after.
Twitter and I think Vox I think Vox had like a running kind of live update of winners. So I checked that randomly. And the first time I checked, it was the most recent update that Spider-Verse had won. So I was pretty happy about that. And then I don't think I checked it again actually until the next morning. And then, so that's when I found out that Green Book won. Because that was the last update.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of them, I was like, yeah, I don't really. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Well, I think they said the ratings are up versus last year, but 11%.
Because there was no stupid host.
No host. No, like, so they didn't have those montages. It kind of sped through a little bit.
And it wasn't too long, right?
3.5, I think.
But it was like standard Oscar long. Like it was long, but not like extended.
Right.
So that's a bonus too.
Correct.
And did they end up doing any? You were saying people were going to be upset, but were they doing any awards during commercials or no?
No, they scrapped.
They went against it.
They went against it. They aired them all live.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently that's outside of, well, the actual podcast I listened to said that, like, there's a lot of money in on that. Like there's a lot of betting on the Oscars.
Yeah.
It's still not anywhere near any type of bowl or sporting thing. But some people were saying is when the Oscars was going to air stuff during commercials to speed up the time, and then people were placing bets on how long it was going to go, and then they decided to air them all live, that it was going to mess with the betting, because if you decided to go like, oh, well, they get rid of this, well, it's going to be 3 hours 10 minutes, but now they're going to add those 4 categories back into it. Like, okay, well, now we're talking 3+ hours, so 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Oh well, 3.5, still way too long. Award shows are unnecessary.
And we will discuss this again at the next award show.
What is the next? The MTV Movie Awards? Or the MTV Awards now? Because I think they're movie and television.
Oh, is it?
I think they did it a couple years ago.
Movie, television, video. MTV.
Yeah, MTV. MTV is still a thing. Apparently.
And then, we got the ESPYs.
Go to the Webbies. Stay tuned for the Webbies coverage on Open Collar.
It's gonna be fun.
Sure. Yeah, we'll wear tuxes, but since it's the Webbies, it'll just be t-shirts.
The t-shirts, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
and then halfway through, we'll switch to the t-shirts that have the bow tie undone.
Yeah, because we're in hour 3 of the Webbies. What's getting hot in here? And then we'll have to get like V-necks with it, so it's like we done the more buttons.
Yeah, that's right.
But we'll save it. We didn't plug what's coming up in April for our Nevada-versary.
Yes,
the 1-year anniversary of the show. So since we ran, I think pretty long this week,
hour and a half.
Oh, okay. Well, that's less than I thought. Maybe we go another half hour, split it into 2 parts.
Nah,
that's too much. Nah. Next time. All right. So, end on a bad dad joke as per usual. So, I'll ask you, why was the big cat disqualified from the race?
Why was the big witch?
Big cat disqualified from the race.
Disqualified from the race. I do not know.
Because it was a cheetah.
No
soundboard.
Bro. Wah, wah.
Yeah, when I get the soundboard ready, should I have like the rim shot or like the
I don't know. I think it would
or like
depend.
our
I think
Price is
it'll
Right?
depend on the joke. I think it'll.
So we need the rim shot, you need the want, and I think you need like the Price is Right. You lost like the
Yeah. or you have Luigi. Oh.
Okay, that is Open Caller for this week. Follow the show socially at facebook.com/opencollarpodcast and on Twitter and Instagram at opencollarpod. Like us, follow us, share our stuff. If you want to, don't forget, check out all the episodes posted. If you want to watch us ramble on for an hour and a half like we did tonight, youtube.com/GoVNC for Michelle and Corey, who is me. We're going to remind you to keep it casual.